Hi students, we are going to discuss the subject biology, and in biology under the plant kingdom we are going to discuss one topic called as the plant life cycles. Plant life cycles is also known as alternation of generations. Plant life cycle is also known as alternation of generations. Here we should remember that both haploid cells which we represented with small m, and diploid cells which we represented as 2m in plants will undergo the process called as mitosis. This is a very important point. Why? Because if you are seeing in the animals, mitosis will be taking place only in the body cells, and whereas the meiosis will be taking place in the germ cells. But in the case of plants, we should remember that mitosis is taking place both in the haploid cells and also the diploid cells. This is a very interesting point. We have to keep in mind. Remember this. So now the next one, when we talk about this, because the haploid cells and diploid cells are undergoing mitosis, we should remember that this leads to the ability of formation of two types of plant bodies. So what are those two types of plant bodies that are formed because of the formation of the haploid cells and diploid cells in the plants? It may be haploid and it is diploid plant body. So haploid and diploid plant bodies are formed in the plants. So haploid means, we already said that it is represented as N. Means what? They are half the number of chromosomes which is represented as N. Diploid, which is represented as 2N. This is the full set of chromosomes that will be present. So haploid and diploid, we are saying. The haploid plant body will be producing the gametes, and this will be called as gametophyte. In the same way, the diploid plant body also produces the gametes, which we call it as the sporophyte. So now, before we enter into the life cycles of the plants, we should try to understand the basic or the general life cycle of these plants now. So let us try to understand now the general pattern of life cycle. Say here, as we said that diploid plant body will create, which we are calling it as the sporophyte, and haploid plant body will create, which we will be calling it as the gametophyte. Here we should try to understand that there is the basic rule, and this is must and should be kept in mind, and it is compulsory. Whenever we are coming across the word sporophyte, it is always diploid. So whenever you are coming across the word sporophyte, it is diploid, and whenever you are coming across the word gametophyte, you should remember that it is haploid. So always remember, the sporophyte will be producing the spores. And the gametophyte will undergo gametogenesis and produces the gametes. Those gametes are, as we know, that there will be female gametes and also the male gametes that will be produced. So here, one point that you have to remember is that sporophyte is diploid, whereas the gametophyte is haploid. Sporophyte is producing the spores, but these spores are haploid, and gametophyte is haploid. It is producing the gametes, where we call them as female gamete and the male gamete. These gametes are haploid, but they are formed from two different plant bodies. Spores are formed from the sporophyte and gametes are formed from the gametophyte. So here if you see the spores, they will be undergoing mitotic division. In the beginning we already said that in the plants mitosis will be taking place both in the haploid cells and also in the diploid cells. So here the spores, there may be four spores. There may be four spores may be produced. Why there will be four spores means here the sporophyte, in order to produce the spores, it will be undergoing a division called as meiosis. Please remember, what is the division that undergoes in the sporophyte to produce the spores? It is the meiosis. So at the end of meiosis, we know that the spores will be haploid and four cells will be formed. And these cells may undergo mitotic division and each spore will be developing into a gametophyte. Okay, so now this gametophyte is undergoing what type of division? Please remember, here it is already haploid. Gametophyte is haploid. Then what type of division it will be undergoing? It has to undergo only mitosis. It will not undergo meiosis. So here it is undergoing mitosis and produces the gametes. This is a very important point that we have to keep in mind. The gametophyte is undergoing mitosis to produce the gametes, whereas the sporophyte is undergoing meiosis to produce the spores. Now these gametes will be involved in fusion of male gamete with the female gamete. So what will be formed? The zygote will be formed. And this zygote undergoes repeated mitotic division to form as what? The sporophyte. So here, another two important points that you will be coming across in the objective is that which is the final cell of the, which is the first cell of the gametophyte, they will ask. Which is the first cell of the gametophyte? Your answer should be the spores. Most of the children, they will think that, first cell of the gametophyte means it is the gametes, so they will go for gametes. But please remember, it is not the gametes, it should be the spores. And in the same way, here, if they are asking which is the final cell of the gametophyte, your answer should be gametes. And the last point here, when we are looking at this, is only a basic life cycle. So we have to remember, what is the function of the sporophyte? It is to produce what? The spores. What is the function of the gametophyte? It is to produce the gametes. This is the function of the gametophyte. So this is general description of the life cycle pattern. So if you are having this in your mind, now we can understand very clearly the alternation of generations. Alternation of generations. So there are three different patterns of life cycles in the plants. The first one, we can call it as the haplontic life cycle. The first type of life cycle that we are going to discuss is haplontic life cycle. And the second one is called as the diplontic life cycle. Second one is called as the diplontic life cycle. And the third one is called as the diplontic life cycle, or it is also called as diplohaplontic life cycle. So these are the three patterns of how the plants will be undergoing the alternation or showing the alternation of generations. So first we are going to discuss about the haplontic life cycle. We are going to discuss about the haplontic life cycle. So here in this diagram we can clearly see how the haplontic cycle is taking place. Now here we start with the zygote. Let us start with the zygote. So here if you are taking this zygote undergoes meiosis and produces these spores. So each spore will multiply or germinate and develops into a gametophyte. Now we know that gametophyte is what? It is haploid. As we said in the previous one, that always gametophyte is what? Haploid, and the sporophyte is diploid. Now the gametophyte, which is haploid, produces the gametes by a process called as gametogenesis. The female gamete and the male gamete. They are produced by what process? They are produced by mitosis. Okay, they are produced by mitosis. So these gametes will fuse together, that we call it as fertilization. Other term for fertilization is what? Syngamy. So the fusion of the male gamete and the female gamete is called as fertilization, or otherwise we are calling it as syngamy. So these two, when they fuse together, they are leading to the zygote. But in the basic pattern of life cycle, we said that they will be sporophyte. Here we are ending up with the zygote. In the haplontic cycle, we will not see the zygote will be undergoing further development. Please remember that. Zygote should actually develop into a sporophyte, which is multicellular. But here what is happening? It is remaining as one single cell. This is one single cell. It is only a single cell and it is diploid. That is important. This single cell actually should multiply and develop into a sporophyte. But in the case of haplontic cycle, zygote will undergo a period of rest, and then it will be undergoing them directly. It will be undergoing directly meiosis process to produce the spores, and these spores are haploid. And here, very important point that we have to remember, that is why it is being kept as haplontic. Because we are coming here, zygote is diploid, gametophyte is haploid. Why it is kept as haplontic cycle means the duration that is taken by these plants which are undergoing this cycle will be taking more time, or in duration, they will be taking more duration to complete their gametophytic stage. This zygote is a very short-lived. This is for a very short period of time it will be there, and immediately it is dividing by meiosis process and producing the spores. So that's why here we should remember that gametophyte is dominant. Okay, in haplontic life cycle, gametophyte is dominant and it is independent. Dominant and it is independent and free living, we say. Independent and it is free living. Okay, independent and free living. But whereas the other part, zygote, it is not free living or independent. It is depending upon what? The gametophyte for its survival or for its existence. So here we should remember that. So that gametophyte is independent or dominant, independent and free living, and it is taking more duration to come in the life cycle of haplontic organisms or the plants. So which are the most important plants that are undergoing this process called as haplontic cycle? Means there are few, or let us say the best examples which are showing the haplontic life cycle is, they are majority of green algae. Majority of green algae will be undergoing the process of haplontic cycle. What are those examples we can say? The best example is always Chlamydomonas. Chlamydomonas, Chara, Spirogyra, Eulothrix and Vulva. These are all the best examples that we will be looking at. Okay, that we will be looking at in the life cycle of haplontic life cycle. So what are the examples here? We are saying that it is the Chlamydomonas, Chara, Spirogyra, Eulothrix, and sorry, this is Vulva. This is Vulva. All these will be undergoing the process of haplontic life cycle. So now the second one which we are going to see now is the diplontic cycle. So diplontic cycle is characterized by the sporophyte. It is characterized by the sporophyte which is diploid. So here the sporophyte is the main plant body, whereas the gametophyte will be depending upon the sporophyte. Please remember, sporophyte is the main plant body which is diploid, and whereas the gametophyte which is haploid is dependent on the sporophyte. Here the gametophyte is of just few cells, single cell or of few cells only, and it is extremely reduced. So major part of the duration that is taking for completion of this diplontic life cycle is with the diploid phase, that is the sporophyte only. So now this sporophyte, as usual, it will be undergoing here it will be undergoing the meiosis and produces the spores. And these spores are what? Haploid. Spores will be germinating to form into a gametophyte. And this gametophyte again undergoes the division called as the mitosis and produces the gametes. Here, what are the gametes means? The male gametes and the female gametes. The male gametes fuses with the female gametes, and that process we call it as what? Syngamy. We are calling it as the syngamy for the formation of the zygote. So this zygote is what now? Single cell and it is diploid. It is a single cell and it is diploid. So this zygote germinates and develops into a sporophyte. So the duration to complete the diplontic life cycle is taken more by the sporophyte. So if you are seeing here, what are the best examples that will be coming under the diplontic life cycle means, we have to remember the best examples as the gymnosperms, angiosperms, diatoms, and fucus and sargassum. These are very important examples, these two, because these two are not coming under as gymnosperms and angiosperms. They are coming under as the algae, brown algae. So that's why we should keep these two examples as very important examples. Please make note of these two, fucus and sargassum. So, but otherwise, diplontic life cycle is seen more in the gymnosperms and angiosperms, and also the diatoms. As we all know, the diatoms are the basic food material that is produced in rich quantity in the seas and oceans. That is very important here again. So this is about the life cycle of the diplontic organisms of the plants which are showing the diplontic cycle. And please remember, these plants will be showing both the sporic meiosis. This is very important. Please take note of this. Sporic meiosis and also gametic meiosis. These two are very important. They will be undergoing sporic meiosis and also gametic meiosis. That is very important point we have to make note of it. Because if you see in the haplontic life cycle, please remember, in the case of haplontic life cycle, another point that we have to remember is that they will undergo zygotic meiosis. They will undergo zygotic meiosis in the case of haplontic life cycle. But here in the diplontic life cycle, they will be undergoing sporic meiosis and gametic meiosis. The third type of life cycle that plants exhibit is haplodiplontic cycle, in which both the sporophyte and as well as the gametophyte exist. The difference here may be if the sporophyte is of 60%, these gametophyte may be of 40%. Or otherwise, if it is gametophyte 60%, the sporophyte may be 40%. So in this way, we say that the duration that is taken by the sporophyte and the gametophyte is almost equal. So that's why we call it as haplodiplontic cycle, where we already know that the sporophyte is what? The diploid, whereas the gametophyte is the haploid. So the characteristic of the haplodiplontic cycle is that there will be the existence of both the sporophyte and gametophyte, and these two are nearly equal, we are saying. The sporophyte and the gametophyte are nearly equal phases, and they are free living. These two are free living. And very important point that you have to keep in mind when we talk about haplodiplontic cycle is that they exhibit or they show sporic meiosis. That's a very important point, because we said in the haplontic life cycle, we said that they are showing zygotic meiosis. In diplontic life cycle, we said that they are showing both sporic meiosis and as well as gametic meiosis. Here in the haplodiplontic cycle, they are showing the sporic meiosis. And what are the best examples in the haplodiplontic life cycle? We are going to discuss now what are those best examples. The best examples are the bryophytes. bryophytes and the pteridophytes. Bryophytes and pteridophytes are the best examples. Now if you are taking bryophytes, now in the bryophytes, the dominant phase is the gametophyte. Please remember this. What is the dominant phase in the bryophytes means? It is the gametophytes. And the sporophyte is partially or totally dependent on the gametophyte. So this one is very important point here we have to make note of. So bryophytes will be showing both gametophytes and gametophytic phase and also sporophytic phase. So here gametophyte is the dominant phase, whereas the sporophyte is the we say that sporophyte is depending upon the gametophyte. But here in the case of pteridophytes, sporophyte is the dominant phase. Please remember these points which are very important. In pteridophytes, sporophyte is the dominant phase, whereas the gametophyte will be also independent. And these two are free living, we are saying. So here bryophytes and pteridophytes are the best examples. But very interesting thing that you have to keep in mind when we are talking about the haplodiploidic cycle is that other examples are there like kelps. This is another example that we have to keep in mind. Okay, kelps. So another example of the haplodiploidic cycle is ectocarpus, and the last one is laminaria. These three are also being the algae, they will be showing haplodiploidic cycle. So the question may be asked, name the algae which are undergoing haplodiploidic cycle. So you should keep these the best examples called as the kelps, ectocarpus and laminaria. So this is what we should keep in mind when we talk about the haplodiploidic cycle.